Tonight, before you close your eyes, let me speak to the part of you that has quietly wondered if your miracle has already passed you by. The part that feels the weight of years, the silence of waiting, the ache of unanswered prayers. You've told yourself it's too late. You've whispered that maybe I forgot. You've tried to make peace with disappointment, even as your heart still longs for what seems impossible. But listen, child of mine, I am the God of the impossible. I am the one who brings miracle birth out of barren seasons and places where hope has grown thin. I am the one who gives unexpected answers at the moment you stop believing it could ever happen. Just like Sarah, you may have quietly laughed inside your heart, thinking the promise was too old, too far gone, too unrealistic. Yet I remind you tonight, nothing I speak over your life expires. No timeline can cancel my word. No delay can diminish my power. If you are in a season that looks empty, if you feel forgotten or overlooked, if you've been asking me for something that feels beyond reach, breathe and stay a while. Let me hold the places you've been carrying alone. If these words touch something inside you, if you feel seen, or if you've been praying for something that feels impossible, leave a 1 in the comments so I know you're here, listening, and walking through this valley with me. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Sacred Serenity, because every night you return, I will meet you with peace, with truth, and with the reminders your heart needs to rest again. Stay with me until the end of this video, child of God, because before this night is over, your faith will breathe again, your hope will lift again, and your spirit will remember that you were never forgotten and never once alone. Genesis 22. God provides the ram. Child, come closer tonight. Let your breath slow. Let your shoulders release, and let your heart settle into the quiet place where my voice can reach you. You have walked through many days feeling like you must solve everything on your own, as if the weight of tomorrow rests entirely on your shoulders. But tonight, under the stillness of this moment, I want to remind you of something eternal, something strong enough to settle your fears and gentle enough to soothe your tired soul. I am the God who provides. I am the one who arranges provision long before your need appears, the one who moves in divine timing, the one who brings provision in crisis when the path looks narrow and the mountain feels steep. When you feel alone at the top of that mountain inside your heart, the place where fear meets responsibility, where uncertainty meets faith, I am there. I walk beside you even when you think you are walking alone. You may not see me, you may not feel me, but I am already preparing what you will need before you ever breathe your next prayer, before you ever begin to worry, before you cry out for help. I have already sent the answer climbing up the mountain toward you. The story you are hearing tonight, the one tucked inside Genesis 22, is not simply about Abraham's obedience. It is a story about my timing, my provision, and my presence in moments that feel too heavy. You know the story, but listen again, slowly, as you fall under the comfort of my word. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. Genesis 22:1. Abraham answered me with a simple heart, the same heart you bring tonight, the heart that says, Here I am, Lord. I'm listening, even though I'm tired. I'm here, even though I don't understand. Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and offer him for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. Genesis 22:2. These words were heavy, impossible. They pierced Abraham's heart, just as some burdens have pierced yours. You have had moments where you felt like I asked too much of you, or where life demanded more than you thought you had. You may have felt like something precious was slipping through your hands, a dream, a relationship, a hope, and you wondered why the path looked so painful. The mountain ahead of Abraham looked like the end, but it was only the beginning of a miracle. And Abraham rose up early in the morning. Genesis 22:3. He didn't delay. He didn't run away. He walked with trembling steps, but he walked. And you, child, have been walking too, even when you didn't know what the outcome would be, even when your heart was trembling. You kept going, and I saw it. I saw every step. I saw every morning you got up when you were weary. I saw every moment you kept believing, even when the mountain felt too steep. Then on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. Genesis 22:4. There are moments in your journey when all you can see is the distance between where you are and where you hope to be. 3 days of walking, 3 days of silence, 3 days of wondering what my plan could possibly be. You've had your own third days, days when nothing made sense, when you lifted your eyes and saw only the challenge, not the blessing. But my timing is never rushed, never delayed. My timing is always divine. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father, behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? Genesis 22:7. Isaac asked the question that lives in many hearts. Where is the provision? Where is the answer? Where is the help I expected to see? And Abraham spoke the words that my spirit whispers to you tonight. My son, God will provide himself a lamb. Genesis 22:8. Rest on this truth. I will provide. Not maybe, not someday, not if circumstances become perfect. I will provide because I am faithful, because I am near, because I am already moving. Abraham and Isaac walked together, but what they did not see was that on the other side of the mountain, a ram was already climbing. Step by step, moment by moment, drawn forward by my hand, moving toward the exact place and exact moment when Abraham would need him. You may not see the ram right now, child. You may not see the answer. You may not see the open door. But that does not mean it isn't coming. It is already on the way. And they came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there. Genesis 22:9. There will be moments in your life when you stand at the exact place you feared, the place where you think provision should already have arrived, the place where you feel tension between faith and fear. Abraham built the altar with trembling hands, just as you have built your life with hope and vulnerability. And still, I was not late. And Abraham stretched forth his hand. Genesis 22:10. But before pain could take its next breath, I stepped in, and the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. Genesis 22:11. I am calling your name tonight just as clearly, not in panic, not in anger, in tenderness, in urgency, in love. I call your name because I see where you are. I call your name because your story does not end on the mountain of fear. I call your name because what you fear losing is not meant to be taken from you. It is meant to be protected. And he said, Lay not thine hand upon the lad. Your worst fears will not happen. The thing you dread is not my plan. Your story is not written by loss. It is shaped by my faithfulness. Breathe, child. You are held by me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket. There it was, the answer he didn't see, the provision he couldn't imagine, the ram that had been climbing long before Abraham arrived. Even now, while you rest, your provision is drawing near. It may arrive quietly, it may appear suddenly, but it will appear at the exact moment you need it, not a moment too early, not a moment too late. My timing is divine because my love for you is complete. Child, You have felt the pressure of carrying too much, the fear of not knowing how things will turn out. You've looked around at your circumstances and wondered why the solution has not appeared yet. But tonight, let this story settle into your spirit like a gentle blanket. Let it soften the places inside you that have grown tense. Let it remind you that you never walk alone, not even when the mountain is steep and the path is unclear. I am the God who sees ahead, the God who provides ahead, the God who never abandons you in the moment of crisis. Your provision is not something you must chase. It is something I send. It is something already prepared. It is something already rising up to meet you. So rest tonight. Rest deeply. Rest with the confidence that even now, in ways hidden from your eyes, I am working all things for your good. Rest because you are not forgotten. Rest because you are not abandoned. Rest because your mountain is not the end. It is the place where my miracle will meet you. And when your eyes close, breathe softly and let your heart repeat this truth. God provides. His timing is divine. His provision meets me in crisis. He has already sent what I need. I will not fear the mountain. The ram is already climbing. Exodus 14. The Red Sea parts. Child, before this night settles fully around you, let your heart become still enough to hear me. You have carried so much, questions, fears, unfinished prayers. Yet tonight, I want to draw you into a quiet place where my voice becomes clearer than the noise around you. I want to take you back to a moment written long ago, a moment where the impossible bowed to my power, where fear gave way to faith, where there was miracle breakthrough, where I opened an impossible path, where I reminded my people that God makes a way even when no way can be seen. Let your spirit sink gently into this story, not as a distant ancient event, but as a reflection of your own life. You too know what it feels like to stand between rising waters and approaching enemies, caught in a place where the heart whispers, there is no escape, there is no path, there is no hope. But what feels final to you is never final for me. Listen now, and rest under the shelter of my word. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I spoke then, and I speak now. I speak into your weariness. I speak into your fear. I speak into the places where you feel cornered by circumstances. When Israel trembled at the edge of the Red Sea, when they felt the world closing in, I did not remain silent. I called them forward. Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Forward, even when forward made no sense. Forward, even when the sea stretched endlessly before them. Forward, even when logic said, turn back, and fear said, give up. Child, you have your own Red Sea, the situation that feels too wide, too deep, too overwhelming, the place where your faith trembles. But just as I spoke then, I whisper now. Go forward. Do not fear. Do not retreat. I am with you. The people felt trapped, just as you have felt trapped in moments of your life. They lifted their eyes and saw only two directions: water in front, enemies behind. They believed they had reached the end. But the end of your strength is not the end of my power. And Moses said unto the people, fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Tonight, these words are for you. You have fought battles that were never meant to be fought with your own strength. You have tried to solve what only I can solve. Be still now. Let your heart quiet. Let your breath deepen. You are not responsible for forcing a miracle. Your part is to trust. My part is to act. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. You do not win this battle by striving. You do not cross this sea by swimming. You do not overcome this fear by struggling. Your breakthrough comes because I fight for you. The seas move at my word, not yours. The path appears because my hand stretches forth, not because your mind finds a solution. Listen more closely now, for this is where my presence draws near to you. But lift thou up thy rod, and stretch out thine hand over the sea, and divide it. Exodus 14:16. Imagine the moment, the waves crashing, the wind rising, the people trembling, Moses standing with faith that felt too small, yet faith that was enough. He lifted his hand because I told him to, and that small act of obedience became the opening of a miracle that still echoes through time. And the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night. Exodus 14:21. All that night. Not instantly, not suddenly, all night. There are quiet miracles happening around you even now. Shifts, movements, alignments that you cannot see yet. Just because the miracle takes time does not mean it isn't happening. What feels unresolved may already be unfolding beneath the surface. While you sleep tonight, I am moving the waters. I am preparing the path. The wind of my spirit is already pushing back what once blocked you. And the waters were divided. Exodus 14:21. What no human could do, what no strategy could achieve, what no effort could accomplish, my hand accomplished with ease. The waters that once threatened them became walls, standing in reverence to my power. And in the middle of what once terrified them, a pathway appeared. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground. Exodus 14:22. Dry ground. Not muddy, not sinking, not dangerous. Dry ground, because my miracles are complete, not partial. When I make a way, I do not leave you halfway struggling. I make a path firm enough to walk on with confidence. Child, hear me tonight. Your Red Sea is not a barrier. It is an invitation. It is the stage for my glory. It is the place where your impossible becomes my testimony. You may not see the path yet. You may feel the waves crashing. You may hear the voice of fear telling you to give up. But my hand is stretched over your situation even now. You do not have to make sense of the sea. You only have to trust the one who parts it. As the people walked through the pathway, imagine their steps, shaking, hesitant, yet moving forward. Just as you have been moving forward even when you were scared, even when you doubted, even when your heart felt heavy. I saw every step. I see every step now. And then, when the enemy tried to follow, and the waters returned and covered the chariots. Exodus 14:28. Not only did I make a way for my people, I destroyed what chased them. I did not simply open a path. I removed the threat. What has been pursuing you, fear, failure, shame, past wounds, will not cross the sea behind you. I do not just guide you forward, I protect your back. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day, and I am saving you in your day. Not by human effort, not by chance, but by my power, my presence, my plan. So now, child, rest. Let the story soften your heart. Let the truth settle your mind. You may feel surrounded, but so were they. You may feel afraid, but so were they. You may feel out of options, but so were they. And still, I made a way. I have not changed. My power has not faded. My love has not weakened. When you lie down tonight, picture the Red Sea opening before you. Picture the waves standing still at my command. Picture the path forming under your feet. Feel the peace that comes when you realize you do not walk alone. Your breakthrough is not hard for me. Your path is not lost to me. Your future is not hidden from me. I split seas. I silence fear. I carve roads through the impossible. Sleep now under the shelter of my presence. Rest in the truth that the God of Exodus 14 is the God of your life tonight. And while you rest, the wind is blowing, the waters are moving, and the miracle is forming. I am making a way for you. Exodus 17, water from the rock. Child, settle into this quiet moment and let the weight of the day fall gently from your shoulders. Let your breath slow. Let your heart soften. Tonight, I want to meet you in the place you rarely show anyone, the place that feels dry, stretched, tired, empty, the place where you have been pouring out more than you've been receiving, the place that feels like wilderness inside your own soul. I know it well, child, and I am not afraid of your dryness, because I am the God who sustains. I am the one who brings supernatural supply into the places where you see nothing but dust. I am the one who plants hope in dryness, even when you feel too weary to hope at all. So rest with me as I lead you back into Exodus 17, a moment when my people reached the edge of their endurance, a moment when thirst pressed into their bones and fear circled their thoughts, a moment when all they could feel was emptiness. But it was in that emptiness that I did my greatest work. Listen now, child, as Scripture becomes a gentle river flowing into your spirit. And all the congregation of the children of Israel journeyed and pitched in Rephidim, and there was no water for the people to drink. Exodus 17:1. No water, no relief, no refreshment, just dryness stretching in every direction. You know this feeling. You walk through your own Rephidim, days when your spirit feels tired, prayers feel unanswered, and your heart feels cracked beneath the heat of life. There are moments when you whisper to yourself, I don't know how much more I can endure. But child, the absence of water is not the absence of God. Dry seasons do not mean deserted seasons. I was there with them, and I am here with you. Wherefore the people did chide with Moses and said, Give us water that we may drink. Exodus 17:2. When the heart is dry, it becomes desperate, irritated, tired, easily discouraged. You may have felt that too, the frustration of carrying a burden too long, the impatience of waiting for breakthrough, the heaviness of spiritual thirst. The people cried out because they were tired of being thirsty, and I heard every word. And Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, What shall I do unto this people? They be almost ready to stone me. Exodus 17:4. Moses felt overwhelmed. You have felt overwhelmed. Moses felt responsible for what he could not fix. You have felt that weight too. Moses didn't know what to do next, and perhaps deep down, neither do you. But hear me now. Your confusion is not failure. Your dryness is not defeat. When Moses reached the end of himself, he reached the beginning of my provision. And the Lord said unto Moses, Go on before the people. Exodus 17:5. Go on, move forward. Do not stay stuck. Do not remain frozen in fear. I guide my children even when they cannot see the path, even when the land looks barren, even when the soul feels empty. Forward is still possible, even in the wilderness. And take with thee of the elders of Israel, and thy rod, wherewith thou smotest the river, take in thine hand, and go. Exodus 17:5. I told Moses to take the same rod that parted the river, the instrument that looked powerless yet carried divine authority. Child, the same faith that brought you through past storms is the faith that will sustain you now. The same God who parted seas is the God who will bring water into your desert. Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb. Exodus 17:6. I stood on the rock before Moses ever struck it. Before the miracle came, my presence was already there. It is the same with you. You may feel alone in your dryness, but I am already standing in the hardest places of your life. Before the blessing arrives, before the breakthrough comes, my presence rests on the very rock you fear. And thou shalt smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. Exodus 17:6. Water from stone, life from something lifeless. refreshment from something unforgiving. Child, hear me. I do not need ideal conditions to bless you. I do not need perfect environments to nourish you. I do not need soft soil to produce living water. I can bring supply from the hardest places in your life, from disappointment, from silence, from loss, from uncertainty. The rock you fear may be the very place where my provision flows. And Moses did so in the sight of the elders of Israel. Exodus 17:6. With one strike, the impossible happened. Through one simple act of obedience, water burst through stone and turned the whole wilderness into a place of life. And child, the dryness inside you is not permanent. It is the preparation for a miracle. What feels empty will be filled. What feels broken will be renewed. What feels barren will become a wellspring. Let my voice speak deeply to your heart tonight. I know your dryness. I see the places where hope feels thin. I see the prayers whispered with tired breath. I see your longing for refreshment, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and I do not turn away. I do not judge your weakness. I do not grow frustrated with your weariness. I come closer, because I am the God who sustains. I sustain you when your strength fades. I sustain you when your faith trembles. I sustain you when the world feels heavy. I sustain you when the heart feels cracked. You will not thirst forever. You will not wander without refreshment. You will not remain in this dry season without my intervention. There is water in your future. There is life in your future. There is provision in your future. Even now, while you listen, my spirit is moving like a gentle stream, softening the hardened places, bringing moisture back into your weary soul. You may not feel it instantly, but water is beginning to rise. Let your heart rest in this promise. What feels like a dead end is only the starting point of my miracle. What feels like dryness is the place I will fill. What feels hopeless is where I will reveal my presence. What feels lifeless will overflow again. Close your eyes now and imagine the rock in the wilderness, solid, rough, immovable. Then imagine my presence resting on it. Imagine Moses lifting his staff. Imagine the sound of stone cracking open. Imagine the rush of water pouring out, clear and cold and endless. This is what I am doing in your life. Breaking open the places you thought were too hard. Releasing what you thought was impossible. Refreshing what you thought was finished. Let this truth wash over you tonight. I am the God who brings water from stone. I am the God who brings hope into dryness. I am the God who sustains you in every season. Rest now, child. You do not need to solve anything tonight. You do not need to push or strive or panic. You only need to breathe in my presence and let my words settle like cool rain on your heart. Water is coming. Strength is coming. Peace is coming. Hope is coming. And you will not thirst. Joshua 6. Jericho's walls collapse. Child, before the night grows quiet around you, let your spirit slow down and rest in my presence. Let every worry fade like a whisper in the dark. You've been staring at walls for a long time, walls that feel higher than your courage, thicker than your faith, stronger than your patience, walls of circumstance, walls of delay, walls of fear, walls built by disappointment or long seasons of waiting. And though these walls seem stubborn, though they stand tall and unmoving, they are not permanent. They are not stronger than me. Tonight I want to bring you into the story of Jericho, where I showed my people that breakthrough does not come from force, from effort, or from striving. Breakthrough comes from obedience. Breakthrough comes from trust. Breakthrough comes when I speak and the walls fall. Let me take you now into that sacred moment recorded in Joshua 6, not as distant history, but as a mirror of your own life. As you listen, rest your thoughts. Let your heart breathe. Allow my word to carry you gently, like a lullaby woven through scripture. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out, and none came in. Joshua 6:1. Joshua 6. Jericho's walls collapse. Jericho was locked tight, closed from the inside, sealed with fear. A fortress designed to keep my people out. You have your own Jericho, something closed, something unmovable, something that refuses to shift no matter how much you pray or try. You keep circling the same problem, the same struggle, the same unanswered question. But hear me, what is locked to you is not locked to me. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho. Joshua 6:2. Before the walls fell, before a single stone trembled, before the people marched even once, I spoke a promise. I said, I have given it to you. Not I will, but I have. Past tense, finished, complete. Child, I speak the same over you tonight. What looks impossible is already in my hands. What stands in your way is already under my authority. The promise exists before the breakthrough appears. And you shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Joshua 6:3. Not attack, not climb, not break down, just walk. Child, sometimes the steps I ask you to take seem small, too small, unimpressive, powerless. But obedience is never small. Faith-filled steps, no matter how gentle, carry the weight of heaven behind them. The people walked not because walking made sense, but because I asked them to. And you too have been walking. You've taken tiny steps toward healing, toward peace, toward hope, toward me, even when you didn't feel strong. I saw every step, every quiet act of obedience, every tearful prayer, every moment you kept going when giving up seemed easier. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. Joshua 6:3. 6 days of silence, 6 days of repetition, 6 days of seeing the same walls, unshaken, unmoved, uncracked. Child, you know what those 6 days feel like. You pray, but nothing changes. You wait, but nothing shifts. You hope, but nothing moves. It feels like walking in circles. It feels like wasted time. But silent days are not empty days. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. In those 6 days I was weakening the foundations. I was preparing the miracle. And in the quiet places of your life, I am doing the same. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets. Joshua 6:4. Before the breakthrough came the worship. Before the walls fell came the sound of faith. Not the sound of weapons, not the sound of fear, the sound of trust, the sound of expectation. Worship is not noise, it is warfare. And every time your heart lifted even a small whisper of trust, even in tears, that was worship rising before me. And it shall come to pass, on the 7th day, ye shall compass the city 7 times. Joshua 6:4. The 7th day, the day of completion, the day when quiet obedience became loud victory. 7 circles, 7 laps, 7 steps of surrender. And then, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. Joshua 6:4. A sound filled the air, a sound of faith declaring that the battle belonged to me. And the wall of the city shall fall down flat. Joshua 6:5. The walls that looked invincible collapsed. The barriers that looked permanent vanished. The fortress that intimidated them surrendered. Not because they were strong, not because they were strategic, not because they forced the breakthrough, but because I spoke, because I acted, because I am God. Child, the walls around your heart, your circumstances, your future, they are not too tall for me. They are not too thick for me. They are not too stubborn for my hand. When the time is right, when obedience has softened the ground of your faith, when trust has deepened in your spirit, I will speak. and what has stood in your way will fall. Listen again, slowly, like a lullaby of victory. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat. Joshua 6:20. Not cracked, not partially broken, not leaning, flat. Child, when I bring breakthrough, it is complete. When I tear down walls, they do not rise again. When I make a way, it stays open. Your victory will not be fragile. Your freedom will not be temporary. Your breakthrough will not be halfway. It will be full, deep, undeniable. I know you have felt surrounded by obstacles that refuse to move, situations that haven't changed, fears that haven't faded, prayers that feel unanswered. You've wondered if you're walking in circles. You've wondered if you're wasting time. You've wondered if maybe the walls are stronger than your hope. But hear me tonight in the stillness. You are closer than you think. You are nearer to breakthrough than you feel. You are standing on the edge of a seventh-day miracle. The walls haven't stayed up because I've ignored you. They have stayed up because I've been working beneath the surface, preparing the perfect moment for them to fall. Walls fall not by your strength, but by my timing. Not by your power, but by my word. So rest tonight. Rest from the pressure to fix everything. Rest from the need to keep fighting. Rest from the fear that nothing will change. Rest in me. Let this truth be the pillow for your weary soul. What stands in your way will fall, not because you force it, but because I speak. Your breakthrough is written into my plan. Your Jericho has an expiration date. Your walls are already weakening. And when the moment comes, when my voice echoes like a trumpet over your life, everything that once intimidated you will crumble under my glory. Sleep now in my peace. Sleep knowing the walls are falling. Sleep knowing your breakthrough is already on its way. Judges 7, Gideon's 300 men. Child, before this night settles fully around you, let your breath fall into a slow, gentle rhythm. Let the weight of your thoughts soften, like dust settling in a quiet room. You have felt overwhelmed lately, surrounded by pressures you didn't choose, responsibilities you didn't expect, and fears you've tried so hard to silence. You've looked at what you have in your hands and whispered, "It's not enough. I'm not enough." But tonight, I want to draw you into a story that reshapes the way you see weakness, a story that reveals how God fights for you, how I work through strength in weakness, and how my divine strategy can turn the smallest beginnings into overwhelming victory. Let me take you gently into Judges 7, where a trembling man named Gideon stood at the edge of a battlefield he never felt prepared for. His story is not just his, it mirrors your own. For like Gideon, you have said in the quiet of your heart, "I am too small for this. I do not have what it takes." But listen, child, I am not limited by numbers. I am not restricted by statistics or the size of the army standing against you. I win battles with the few, with the weak, with the hesitant, with those who lean on me, even when their knees shake. Rest now. Let my word pour over you like a soft stream. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, rose up early, and all the people that were with him, and pitched beside the well of Harod. Judges 7:1. The morning was quiet, the air cool, but fear hung heavy. Gideon looked at the vast enemy across the valley, a host so numerous as grasshoppers, Scripture would later say. You have looked at your own challenges the same way, problems that feel countless, stress that seems to multiply, situations that tower over you. But what you see is never what I see. Gideon saw a threat. I saw a miracle waiting to unfold. And the Lord said unto Gideon, "The people that are with thee are too many for me." Judges 7:2. Too many, not too few, too many. Child, my ways are not your ways. You look for more strength, more ability, more support, and I sometimes remove those very things, so you will see my hand clearly. I told Gideon his army was too large, not because I needed fewer men, but because I wanted his victory to be unmistakably divine, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, "Mine own hand hath saved me." Judges 7:2. I protect you from victories that would make you trust yourself instead of me. I strip away what you think you need so that when breakthrough comes you will know, deeply, quietly, unquestionably, that it was I who fought for you. Now therefore go to, proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, "Whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return." Judges 7:3. And 22,000 men walked away. Fear took them back home. 10,000 remained, shaking, uncertain, but willing. You have lost things too. Lost support, lost opportunities, lost people you thought would walk with you longer, lost strength you wished you still had. But child, not every subtraction is a loss. Sometimes it is a divine strategy. Sometimes I must reduce what you rely on so I can reveal the fullness of my faithfulness. And the Lord said unto Gideon, "The people are yet too many." Judges 7:4. Too many, even now. Gideon watched his numbers shrink again, from 10,000 to 300, a number so small it felt laughable. And you, child, you have felt your own numbers shrinking. Your confidence, your energy, your options, your resources. You've asked me, why does it feel like I have less and less? But listen gently. When I reduce, I refine. When I remove, I reveal. When I limit what you lean on, I increase what I can do. 300 men, 300 clay jars, 300 torches, 300 trumpets, no swords, no chariots, no conventional strength, just faith, just obedience, just me. And the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. Judges 7:6. I chose the 300 not because they were strong, but because they were alert. They were watchful. They were willing. Child, I do not need your perfection. I only need your willingness. I do not need your strength. I need your surrender. I do not need your strategy. I need your trust. And the Lord said unto Gideon, "By the 300 men that lapped will I save you." Judges 7:7. Not might, not could, will. Your victory is not a possibility, it is my promise. Listen, child, this is where the miracle breathes. And he divided the 300 men into 3 companies, and he put a trumpet in every man's hand. Judges 7:16. A trumpet, a symbol of sound, a torch inside a pitcher, a symbol of light hidden in weakness, an empty hand holding no weapon, a symbol of dependence. The army looked foolish, outnumbered beyond measure. But heaven does not measure the way humans measure. Heaven looks for trust, not numbers. When I blow with a trumpet, then blow ye the trumpets also on every side of all the camp. Judges 7:18. Obedience, not force. Faith, not strength. Child, you've been trying to fight battles that can't be won with human strength. You've tried to push your way through stress, anxiety, pressure, disappointment, battles that require divine intervention. Gideon's men did not win because they fought. They won because they trusted. And they blew the trumpets and brake the pitchers that were in their hands. Judges 7:19. The breaking came first, the light came second, the victory came third. Your breaking is not your end, it is your beginning. Your cracked places are where my light shines brightest. Your emptiness is the space where my glory moves. And they cried, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." Judges 7:20. The sword was mine, not theirs, not yours. I am the one who strikes down the enemy. I am the one who confuses the darkness. I am the one who brings order to chaos. I am the one who turns weakness into triumph. And the Lord set every man's sword against his fellow. Judges 7:22. The enemy destroyed itself, not by Gideon's strength, not by human force, not by earthly planning. The battle was mine from the beginning. Child, hear me deeply. You feel outnumbered, but you are not defeated. You feel outmatched, but you are not abandoned. You feel too small, but I am not. You feel too weak, but my strength shines strongest in weakness. Let me remind you of this truth. I do not need numbers to save you. I do not need resources to rescue you. I do not need perfect conditions to give you breakthrough. I only need your trust. When everything in your life seems too small, your faith, your courage, your hope, place it in my hands. What seems small in your hands becomes victorious in mine. Rest now in this truth. I am fighting battles you cannot see. I am shifting circumstances you cannot understand. I am aligning victories that have not yet reached your eyes. You do not need to be strong tonight. You only need to be still. You only need to trust. You only need to rest in me. Let your fears grow quiet. Let your mind release its grip. Let your heart lean into my presence. I am with you. I am fighting for you, and the battle is already turning in your favor. Sleep peacefully now, child, for the God who won Gideon's victory is the God who watches over you tonight. 1 Samuel 17. David defeats Goliath. Child, come near for a moment, and let your breath fall into a slow and gentle rhythm. Let the noise of today soften until it becomes nothing more than a distant hum. You have been standing in front of giants, giants of fear, giants of pressure, giants of uncertainty, giants of circumstances that feel bigger than your strength and louder than your courage. These giants have shouted at you, intimidated you, made you feel small, made you feel unprepared. But tonight, I want to remind you of something eternal, something stronger than any shadow that towers over you. Courage is not born in the absence of fear, but in the presence of God. Giants fall not because you are powerful, but because I am. Tonight, as you rest, let me take you into a story woven into the heart of Scripture. A story of a boy, a stone, and a giant who looked invincible until the God of heaven stepped into the battlefield. Let your heart soften as you sink into the story of David and Goliath, found in 1 Samuel 17, where you will see courage, giants falling, and the quiet miracle of overcoming fear through my strength. Let my word wash over you like a calming river. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle. 1 Samuel 17:1. The battlefield was set long before the fight began. Israel stood on one mountain, the Philistines on another. Between them lay a valley, a place of tension, a place of confrontation, a place where fear and faith collided. You too have your valley, a place where a giant stands and challenges you, where anxiety whispers that you are not enough, where circumstances dare you to retreat. But you are not alone in that valley. I am standing beside you. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath. 1 Samuel 17:4. Goliath was tall beyond measure, intimidating, armored, confident. His presence alone made seasoned warriors tremble, and the giants in your life may feel the same, towering, overwhelming, impossible to face. The giant may be uncertainty about tomorrow. It may be emotional heaviness. It may be a situation you don't know how to fix. It may be fear whispering that the battle has already been lost. But child, what appears undefeatable to you is already small before me. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and was sore afraid. 1 Samuel 17:24. Fear spread like a shadow across the camp. Warriors hid, hearts trembled. For 40 days Goliath roared, morning and evening, reminding them of his strength. You know what 40 days feels like too. Seasons where fear repeats itself day after day. Moments where you wake with worry and sleep with heaviness. Times when intimidation becomes a rhythm. But fear is never the end of the story when I am near. And David said, "Let no man's heart fail because of him. Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine." 1 Samuel 17:32. David was young, unexpected, overlooked, but courage rose in him, not because he was strong, but because he remembered who stood with him. Child, courage doesn't require you to be fearless. It requires you to trust me more than what you see. David looked at the giant, but he saw me. He heard the taunts, but he listened for my voice. And so can you. And Saul said to David, "Thou art not able, for thou art but a youth." 1 Samuel 17:33. Voices around you may say you're not ready. Voices inside you may say you're not capable. Voices behind you may remind you of your past. But you are not defined by those voices. You are defined by my presence. And David said, "The Lord delivered me. He will deliver me out of the hand of this Philistine." 1 Samuel 17:37. David remembered. He remembered the lion. He remembered the bear. He remembered the moments when my strength carried him. Child, remember your own victories. They may seem small now, but they were not small then. Every past rescue stands as a testimony that I will deliver you again. The giant before you is no stronger than the lions I already saved you from. And he took his staff and chose him 5 smooth stones out of the brook. 1 Samuel 17:40. Not a sword, not armor, not strength from men, just stones. Simple, small, ordinary. Child, you don't need extraordinary weapons to fight your giants. You only need what I place in your hand, no matter how small it seems. Faith looks small, prayer looks quiet, obedience looks insignificant, but when placed in my hand, they become powerful. And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David. 1 Samuel 17:41. The giant moved closer, and you may feel yours moving closer too. The pressure rising, the deadlines approaching, the fear tightening. But when the giant advances, so do I. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him. 1 Samuel 17:42. Your giant may laugh, your fear may mock, your situation may look impossible, but impossible is the language of miracles. Then said David, I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts. 1 Samuel 17:45. You do not face your giant alone, you face it in my name, not in your strength, not in your strategy, not in your power, in me. And no force on earth can stand against my name. David spoke again, the Lord will deliver thee into mine hand. 1 Samuel 17:46. Not might, not maybe, will. In your own life, the giant will fall, not by your might, but by my promise. And David put his hand in his bag, and took thence a stone. 1 Samuel 17:49. Just a stone, just one, just enough. Child, all you need is one act of trust, one step forward, one whispered prayer, one moment of courage, and I will guide your stone. And smote the Philistine in his forehead, that the stone sunk into his forehead. 1 Samuel 17:49. The giant fell, faster than anyone expected, more suddenly than fear imagined. Child, when giants fall, they fall quickly. They appear strong until the moment my power strikes, and then they crumble. So David prevailed over the Philistine with a sling and with a stone. 1 Samuel 17:50. Not with armor, not with numbers, not with human strength. He prevailed because I prevailed. Now listen, child, Let this truth settle deeply into your heart. The giants in your life roar loudly, but I am the one who guides your stone. I am the one who directs your steps. I am the one who strengthens your spirit. I am the one who turns fear into quiet victory. No giant stands taller than my promise. No obstacle stands firmer than my word. No darkness stands stronger than my light. The giant you face tonight may feel big, but I am bigger. Your fear may feel loud, but my voice is stronger. Your problem may seem overwhelming, but I am victorious. Let every anxious thought loosen its grip. Let every fear grow quiet. Let every heavy breath soften into rest. For you do not fight alone. You do not stand alone. You do not walk into the valley alone. I am with you. I am guiding you, and I am already winning the battle for you. Sleep now, child. Rest inside my victory, for your giant will fall, just as surely as Goliath fell before my power. 1 Kings 17. Provision for the widow and her son raised. Child, come closer tonight. Let the heaviness that lives behind your ribs loosen and fall gently into my hands. You have carried grief quietly. You have carried emptiness silently. You have carried questions that tremble inside your prayers. But in this stillness, under the soft cover of night, I want to take you into a story woven with hope. A story that whispers of restoration, breathes of miraculous provision, and brings comfort to every longing that aches for life restored. Your heart knows what it feels like to have empty jars, days when strength feels thin, moments when joy drains slowly away, seasons where hope seems poured out drop by drop until nothing remains. But child, I see those empty jars. I see the cracks. I see the emptiness that makes you afraid of tomorrow. And still, I draw near, not to judge your emptiness, but to fill it. Rest with me now, as Scripture becomes a gentle voice over your soul. Tonight, let me lead you through 1 Kings 17, a story of a widow, a jar of flour, a drop of oil, and a miracle that began quietly in the middle of despair. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, 1 Kings 17:8. My word always comes before my miracle. Before supply appears, before healing rises, before restoration breathes again, my word goes ahead. You may not see provision yet, but my voice is already moving toward your need. Arise, get thee to Zarephath. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. 1 Kings 17:9. In a time of famine, when resources disappeared and hope ran thin, I sent my prophet to a widow with nearly nothing. It didn't make sense. It felt backward. Why send need to need? Why send a hungry man to a hungry home? But child, my strategy is not like yours. I orchestrate miracles through places that look empty, so you may know the fullness comes from me. You may feel like that widow, too tired, too empty, too stretched. But hear me. Your emptiness does not disqualify you from my provision. It positions you for it. So he arose and went to Zarephath. And when he came, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks. 1 Kings 17:10. Gathering sticks, a humble task, a small act, a routine of survival. She wasn't looking for a miracle. She wasn't praying out loud. She wasn't expecting me to show up at her doorstep. But when she looked at her hands, she saw only 2 sticks, enough wood to cook a final meal. Sometimes life brings you to that place, a place where your hands feel small, your resources scarce, your heart weary. But I enter these moments quietly, and he called to her, "Fetch me a little water." 1 Kings 17:10. Just water, just a small request, just the beginning of a divine interruption. And as she was going, he called to her and said, "Bring me a morsel of bread in thine hand. 1 Kings 17:11. Her heart broke open, and she said, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. 1 Kings 17:12. Child, listen to her voice. It may sound like yours. I have only a little strength left. I have only a little hope left. I have only a little courage remaining. I have only a handful of belief. I hear every trembling confession. I see every place where you feel inadequate. I know every corner of your heart that whispers, it is not enough. But when you bring me your little, I give you my much. Fear not. 1 Kings 17:13. These two words are the doorway to every miracle. They are the soft reassurance from heaven that what looks impossible to you is simple for me. The widow feared the future. You fear too. The unknown, the empty places, the wounds that haven't healed. But I whisper the same tonight. Fear not. I am here. I will not let you run empty. Make me thereof a little cake first. 1 Kings 17:13. Not because I need it, but because obedience opens the gate of blessing. Child, when you trust me with your little, I pour out my abundance. For thus saith the Lord God of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail. 1 Kings 17:14. A promise, spoken into a famine. A guarantee, spoken into uncertainty. A miracle, whispered into near-death despair. You may feel like everything in your life is running out. Time, peace, strength, answers, joy. But my promise stands. You will not run dry. Your hope will not fail. Your spirit will not crumble. Your future will not wither. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. 1 Kings 17:15. Her obedience made room for my provision. And she and he and her house did eat many days. 1 Kings 17:15. Not one day, not one moment, many days. Child, your miracle will not be temporary. Your restoration will not be fragile. Your provision will not be small. I am the God who sustains entire seasons from a single act of faith. But then the story reaches deeper, into the places where grief pierces the heart. And it came to pass that the son of the woman fell sick, and there was no breath left in him. 1 Kings 17:17. The very child she lived for, the promise, the future, the joy, collapsed. You know what it feels like when something precious in your life dies. A dream, a relationship, confidence, joy, a piece of yourself. You feel loss that words cannot hold. You feel silence in places that once carried laughter. But child, the story does not end here. And he said, Give me thy son. 1 Kings 17:19. Give me what has died. Give me what has broken. Give me what you are afraid to hope for again. Give me what no longer breathes inside your heart. Because when you place death in my hands, I return life. And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times, and cried unto the Lord. 1 Kings 17:21. 3 times, not because I needed repetition, but because the widow needed time to believe healing was possible. O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. 1 Kings 17:21. And heaven answered, and the Lord heard, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived. 1 Kings 17:22. Life restored, breath returned, hope resurrected. Child, I am the God who restores what has fallen. I am the one who revives what has grown cold. I am the one who returns breath where breath has left. Your story is not over. Your grief is not final. Your emptiness is not the end. I am restoring you, drop by drop, breath by breath. You may not feel it all at once, Restoration rarely arrives loudly. It comes softly, like oil filling a nearly empty jar, like breath returning slowly to tired lungs, like light gently pushing back the shadows. Tonight, rest in this truth. I fill what is empty. I heal what is broken. I revive what has died. I sustain what feels weak. I restore what seems lost. Your jars may feel empty, but they will not remain empty. Your heart may feel cracked, but it will not remain broken. Your hope may feel thin, but it will not fade away. Your spirit may feel tired, but strength is returning even now. Rest now, child. Rest in my presence. Rest in my promise. Rest in my provision. Rest in my restoration. For I am the God who fills your emptiness and brings life back into every place that grief has touched too deeply. 2 Kings 4. The widow's oil multiplies. Child, before the night wraps itself around you, before your thoughts drift too far, come rest in this quiet moment with me. Let your breath slow. Let the tension fall away from your shoulders. You have been carrying a silent fear inside you, the fear of not enough strength, not enough time, not enough resources, not enough clarity, not enough courage, not enough of anything you feel you need to move forward. But tonight, I want to draw you close and whisper something that can steady your heart. I am the God of abundance. I am the God of unexpected increase. I am the God of miracle supply. You do not need to multiply anything. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to make your jar full. You simply need to bring me the little you have left, because when your little enters my hands, heaven begins to move. Let me take you into the gentle miracle found in 2 Kings 4, a story where scarcity met divine provision, where desperation met my compassion, where a widow discovered that emptiness is not the end. It's the beginning of miracle supply. Let my words settle into your spirit like warm oil, healing, softening, filling. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Thy servant my husband is dead. 2 Kings 4:1. She began with a cry, not strength, not confidence, not solutions, just a cry, a sound born from pain, from fear, from loss. You have cried too, perhaps not aloud, perhaps not where anyone could hear, but your heart has released silent cries, the kind that press into your chest when no one is watching. I hear every one of them. And the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. 2 Kings 4:1. She was about to lose everything. Not only had she lost her husband, but now her future, her sons, were being taken from her. You know what it feels like to fear losing what you love, what you worked for, what gives you hope. You know what it feels like when circumstances tighten around you and threaten to break what little remains. But child, your desperation is not a place of shame. It is a place where my miracles begin. And Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for thee? Tell me, what hast thou in the house? 2 Kings 4:2. What do you have left? Not what you lost, not what you wish you had, not what others have, just what remains in your house, what remains in your life, what remains in your heart. You may look inside yourself and say, Very little, but that is all I need. And she said, Thine handmaid hath not anything in the house, save a pot of oil. 2 Kings 4:2. Just oil, just a small jar, just enough for one more moment. Child, you often see your only as too little. I only have a little strength left. I only have a little hope left. I only have a little faith left. I only have a little time, a little clarity, a little peace. but I see your little as the beginning of abundance. I do not need much to work with. I only need what you are willing to place in my hands." Then he said, "Go, borrow thee vessels abroad of all thy neighbors, even empty vessels." 2 Kings 4:3. Empty vessels, not full ones, not strong ones, not perfect ones. Do you see, child? I work best with emptiness. When your strength is empty, I fill it. When your joy is empty, I restore it. When your hope is empty, I breathe life into it. When your ability is empty, my power shines through. Borrow not a few. 2 Kings 4:3. Do not limit what I can do. Do not assume small things mean small miracles. Do not decide how much blessing I can pour. Bring thee space, bring thee room, bring thee expectation. Child, make room for abundance. And when thou art come in, thou shalt shut the door upon thee and upon thy sons. 2 Kings 4:4. Shut the door, shut out the voices, shut out the doubt, shut out the fear, shut out the opinions of others. Some miracles take place behind closed doors, where it's just you, your empty jars, and my presence. And shalt pour out into all those vessels. 2 Kings 4:4. Pour, even when it doesn't make sense. Pour, even when the jar looks too small. Pour, even when you don't understand how it will work. Pour, even when your mind says, "This is not enough." Faith pours, fear holds back. Miracles flow from pouring. So she went from him and shut the door. 2 Kings 4:5. Obedience opens the path. Quiet faith unlocks abundance. And she poured out. 2 Kings 4:5. Feel this moment, child. The oil was still the same small amount, but with every pour, heaven multiplied it. With every act of trust, abundance flowed. With every tilt of the jar, supply increased. Not suddenly, not loudly, quietly, softly, miraculously. And it came to pass, when the vessels were full, 2 Kings 4:6, full, every single vessel. Child, your life may feel full of empty places right now. Empty relationships, empty plans, empty motivation, empty hope. But emptiness does not scare me. Emptiness is space I can fill. Emptiness is the canvas of your miracle. Emptiness is the doorway to abundance. That she said unto her son, "Bring me yet a vessel." 2 Kings 4:6. There were no vessels left. The blessing had filled them all. And the oil stayed. 2 Kings 4:6. The oil did not run out. The vessels did. Child, the limitation was not my supply. It was her capacity. And tonight I whisper softly, "Do not limit what I can do in you." Then she came and told the man of God, and he said, "Sell the oil, and pay thy debt, and live thou and thy children of the rest." 2 Kings 4:7. Not only did I supply her crisis, I secured her future. I covered her debts. I restored her household. I provided more than she asked for. That is my nature. I do not give barely enough. I give enough to live on. Child, listen deeply to my heart tonight. You worry about not having enough. Enough strength, enough time, enough hope, enough courage, enough peace, enough ability, enough clarity. But I am the God of more than enough. I am the God who multiplies. I am the God who increases. I am the God who fills. I am the God who supplies. You bring me a drop, I bring you overflow. You bring me a little, I bring you abundance. You bring me emptiness, I bring you fullness. Tonight, breathe in slowly and release every fear of scarcity. Release the thought that you will run out. Release the belief that what you have is too small. Release the worry that your future is fragile. Let your heart rest in this truth. I am filling your life with quiet abundance, Not loud, not rushed, not frantic, but steady, gentle, faithful abundance. You may not see it all at once, but oil is flowing, miracles are forming, provision is rising, increase is coming. Your jar is not too small, your faith is not too weak, your life is not too empty. In my hands, everything multiplies. Rest deeply now, child. Let every anxious breath soften. Let every fear fall asleep. Let every empty place relax under my care. For I am the God of abundance, of unexpected increase, of miracle supply, and I am pouring into you even now. 2 Kings 20. Hezekiah healed. Shadow moves backward. Child, come closer into the quiet of this night. Let every breath slow. Let every concern soften. You've been carrying fear about outcomes you cannot control, about situations that feel final, about shadows that seem to lengthen across your life, shadows of sickness, stress, uncertainty, and the unknown future. But tonight I want to take your hand and draw you into a story where I overturned what seemed sealed, where I reversed what looked irreversible, where I showed my people that divine healing is real, that life can be extended, and that I am the God of reversing the impossible. Rest your heart now. Let every anxious thought lie down at the edge of your mind. Tonight, let the story of Hezekiah in 2 Kings chapter 20 become a whisper of comfort over your soul, a reminder that nothing is finished until I say it is finished. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death. 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 1. Hezekiah was not just unwell, he was dying. His body was failing, his strength fading, his hope slipping away. And you know what moments like that feel like. Moments when something inside you weakens, when life presses down hard, when outcomes look bleak or impossible, when the path ahead feels too short or too dark. Hezekiah's sickness mirrors the places in your life where you feel wounded, tired, worn, or fragile. And the prophet Isaiah said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Set thine house in order, for thou shalt die and not live. 2 Kings 20:1. The words sounded final, like a door closing, like a sentence sealed. Hezekiah heard the prophecy and felt the shadow lengthen across his life. Maybe you've heard similar voices, doctors, fears, memories, anxieties, voices that whisper, This is the end. This will not change. This cannot be undone. But child, the story was not over, because I had not spoken the final word. Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Lord. 2 Kings 20:2. Hezekiah did not argue with Isaiah. He did not fight the doctor. He did not plan or panic. He turned his face to the wall, a symbol of turning away from fear, from people, from pressure, and he turned toward me. Child, you can do the same. Turn your face toward me. Turn your thoughts toward me. Turn your breathing toward me. Turn your heart toward me. Even when you cannot fix anything, you can always turn. And wept sore. 2 Kings 23. He wept. This king, this strong, faithful servant, broke down. You have wept too. Tears you hide, tears you swallow, tears you shed in the dark. But I am near to every tear. I count them, I hear them, I gather them. Your tears are never wasted. They are prayers in liquid form. And before Hezekiah's tears were dry, heaven was already moving. And it came to pass, afore Isaiah was gone out into the middle court, that the word of the Lord came to him, saying, 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 4. Isaiah had barely left the room. He didn't reach the gate. He didn't reach the courtyard. He didn't even finish his steps. I interrupted him. I reversed the message. I overturned the outcome. Child, I can change things faster than despair can whisper. I can reverse situations before fear finishes its sentence. Turn again and tell Hezekiah, I have heard thy prayer, I have seen thy tears. 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 5. I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears, I know your pain, I understand your fear. You are not invisible, you are not ignored, you are not forgotten. Behold, I will heal thee. 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 5. Not I might, not I could, not perhaps. I will heal you, and I will add unto thy days 15 years. 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 6. Extended life, more time, more breath, more purpose. Child, your story does not end where fear says it ends. Your life is not determined by shadows, sickness, or circumstance. I hold your days. I determine your seasons. I carry your future. But the miracle was not complete yet. Hezekiah asked for a sign, something to prove the promise. And I did something the world had never seen. And Hezekiah said, What shall be the sign? 2 Kings 28. I could have healed him with no sign. I could have restored him silently. But I wanted to show him, and you, that nothing is too big for me to reverse. So I offered a choice. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees, or go back 10 degrees? 2 Kings 29. Forward is easy. Forward is natural. Forward is expected. But backward, moving back in time, reversing nature, undoing what should be done, undoing the impossible. That is where my glory shines. Hezekiah knew this. He said, It is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees. 2 Kings 20:10. And then I did the impossible, and the Lord brought the shadow 10 degrees backward. 2 Kings 20:11. The sun moved in reverse, time rewound, light bent, creation obeyed the voice of its creator. Child, listen to this carefully. If I can move the sun backward, I can move your life forward. If I can reverse the shadow, I can reverse the situation. If I can undo time, I can undo damage. If I can rewind the degrees on the sundial, I can rewind the despair in your heart. Nothing is final until I speak the final word. Whatever feels impossible to undo is easy for me. Whatever feels too far gone is not beyond my reach. Whatever feels broken beyond repair can be restored by my hand. Whatever feels like the end may only be the beginning of a deeper miracle. Rest, child. Your life is in my hands. Steady, gentle, sovereign hands. The same hands that moved the sun hold you tonight. Let every fear loosen. Let every anxious breath unravel. Let every worry slip from your chest. Your story is not ending. Your chapter is not closing. Your hope is not dying. I am rewriting the part you cannot rewrite. I am extending what you thought was finished. I am healing what you thought was broken. I am reversing what you thought was impossible. I am lifting the shadow that frightened you. Rest now, for I am the God of divine healing, of extended life, of reversing the impossible, and I am with you in the stillness of this night. Daniel 3, the fourth man in the fire. Child, come close to me in the quiet of this night. Let your breath fall into a slow rhythm, and let every part of your heart soften under the gentleness of my presence. You have walked through days that felt too heavy, seasons that felt too long, moments that felt too hot, as if the very air around you burned with pressure, fear, and uncertainty. You have felt the heat of trials pressing against your chest. You have felt the flames of anxiety lick at the edges of your thoughts. You have felt the weight of being inside a furnace you never wanted to enter. But tonight, I want to draw you into a truth that has carried my children for generations. I am your protection. I am your presence in suffering. I am God in the fire. You are not alone in what you face. You are not abandoned in your fear. You are not forgotten in your pain. Let me guide you slowly, gently, deeply into the story of Daniel 3, a moment when 3 of my children were thrown into a fire built to destroy them, only to discover that I step inside every furnace my children face. Let my word calm you. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold. Daniel 3:1. A statue rose high above the land, shimmering with pride, built for worship. The king commanded that all bow before it. Pressure filled the air, a pressure much like the pressure you sometimes feel. Pressure to conform, pressure to pretend you're all right, pressure to meet demands that drain your soul. But watch how my children responded. Whoso falleth not down and worshippeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Daniel 3:6. A furnace, a threat, a punishment for standing firm. You know what it feels like to stand for what is right and pay a price. You know what it feels like to hold on to your faith when the world asks you to bend. You know what it feels like to choose me over fear and still feel fear chasing you. But 3 young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, remained firm. We will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image. Daniel 3:18. Their voices trembled with courage, their hearts trembled with conviction, and the king, furious, ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter, and he commanded to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Daniel 3:20. Bound, carried, thrown. They did not walk into the fire, they were thrown into it. And child, some of the fires in your life were not chosen, they were forced upon you. Unexpected news, unplanned losses, uninvited pain, unwanted battles. You didn't step into these flames, you were pushed. And the furnace was exceedingly hot. The heat was real, the danger real, the flames fierce. And sometimes your fire feels the same, the intensity unbearable, the pressure suffocating. But that is never where your story ends, because the moment they fell into the fire, I stepped in. Then Nebuchadnezzar rose up in haste and spake, did not recast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire. Daniel 3:24. 3 men, bound, thrown. But the king saw something impossible. Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire. Daniel 3:25. 4, not 3. And they were loose, no longer bound, walking, not writhing, unharmed, not burning. Then the king declared, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Daniel 3:25. Child, hear this slowly, deeply, as if I am whispering it directly into your spirit. I am the 4th man in your fire. I am the presence in your suffering. I am the protection inside your trial. I am the God who steps into the flames you fear. You are never thrown into any furnace alone. I do not watch from a distance. I do not wait for the fire to die down. I do not rescue you only after the flames fade. I step inside it. I walk inside it. I protect you inside it. Your fire becomes my sanctuary. Your trial becomes my temple. Your suffering becomes my setting. Even when the flames rise, your soul is safe in me. Listen to the next verse. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and said, Ye servants of the Most High God, come forth. Daniel 3:26. Notice, child, I was in the fire before anyone else came near. And when they stepped out, the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. Daniel 3:27. no power, no harm, no burning, not even the smell of smoke. That is my protection, not partial, not fragile, complete, perfect, whole. The flames that were meant to destroy you will not even leave a mark. Child, listen closely. You feel the heat of trials right now, the fire of stress, the fire of fear, the fire of uncertainty, the fire of loss, the fire of loneliness, the fire of battles that seem too big. But I step inside the fire with you. You are not alone. You will not be burned. My presence does not remove the fire. It removes its power. My presence does not stop the heat. It stops the harm. My presence does not always prevent the trial, but it transforms the outcome. Those flames that frighten you, I am already walking inside them. Those fears that tighten your chest, I am breathing peace into them. Those pressures that exhaust you, I am lifting you above them. Do not fear the fire. Fear cannot enter where my presence dwells. Let this truth rest over you like a blanket tonight. Even in the fire you are safe. Even in the fire you are protected. Even in the fire you are not alone. Your suffering is not a sign of my absence. It is the place where my presence draws closest. Now, child, breathe slowly. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heartbeat settle. Let the warmth of my presence enfold you like gentle arms. You are not forgotten. You are not fighting alone. You are not walking through flames without a shield. I am the fourth man in your fire, your protection, your comforter, your strength, your companion. Rest deeply in me tonight. Rest, knowing the flames have no power over you. Rest, knowing your story is safe inside my hands. Rest, because I am here, in every moment, in every trial, in every fire, now and forever. Daniel 6, the lion's den. Child, come near and let your breath soften. Let the weight you've been carrying slide gently off your shoulders. Tonight, I want to take you into a story of deliverance, of divine protection, of danger silenced beneath my authority. I know the lions that circle your thoughts. I know the fears that grow loud in the quiet moments. I know the threats that feel close, the anxieties that sharpen their teeth, the worries that roar with intimidation. But hear me, I shut the mouths of lions. I silence every voice raised against you. I cover you with protection no enemy can break. Let your heart settle as I guide you slowly, like a whisper through the night, into the story of Daniel in the lion's den. Not as a distant tale, but as a mirror of your own life, of the dangers around you, the fears within you, and the God who stands guard over you. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes. Daniel 6:1. A new king on a throne, new officials in charge, a new structure in the land. Daniel, faithful and trustworthy, was placed high among them, and his excellence stirred jealousy. You know what that feels like, to live with integrity and still face opposition, to do right and still find yourself targeted, to give your best and still encounter resistance. Not all danger comes from enemies, some comes from envy. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom. Daniel 6:4. They searched for faults. They watched him, studied him, tried to uncover weakness. But Daniel was faithful. No corruption, no negligence, no wrongdoing. Child, hear this. Sometimes the difficulty in your life doesn't come because you're doing something wrong. It comes because you're doing something right. Light attracts admiration, but it also attracts attack. But you are not unprotected in those moments. We shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Daniel 6:5. They decided to use his devotion against him, the very thing that gave him strength. You know what it feels like when your faith is challenged, when your hope is tested, when what you believe becomes the battlefield. So they crafted a trap. Whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, Save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Daniel 6:7. A law designed to destroy one man, a punishment brutal and swift. A den of lions, not symbolic but real. You face lions too, not animals, but threats that feel just as sharp. The lion of fear, the lion of doubt, the lion of financial pressure, the lion of sickness, the lion of betrayal, the lion of anxiety circling your mind. But watch Daniel. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house and prayed. Daniel 6:10. He knew the danger, he knew the consequences, he knew the lions were waiting, yet he prayed, not once, but 3 times a day, with windows open toward Jerusalem, with heart open toward me. Child, when danger rises, prayer is not your last resort, it is your shield. Daniel's enemies rushed to accuse him. Then the king was sore displeased with himself, and labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Daniel 6:14. The king loved Daniel, but he was trapped by his own law. No human authority could rescue him. Child, sometimes no one around you can fix the situation. No friend, no leader, no voice you trust. Not because they do not care, but because the rescue belongs to me. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Daniel 6:16. Thrown into danger, placed among predators, surrounded by threats. You know this feeling. Moments when you feel dropped into a situation beyond your control, surrounded by fear, hemmed in by circumstances that feel overwhelming. But before Daniel fell fully into the darkness, the king spoke words he did not know were prophetic. Thy God, whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. Deliverance, written into Daniel's story before the miracle came. Deliverance, written into your story even now. Then a stone was rolled across the mouth of the den, sealed, closed, hopeless. But no stone can seal out my presence. Then the king passed the night fasting, and his sleep went from him. A king couldn't sleep, but Daniel, surrounded by lions, slept in peace. Child, you will rest in places where others would panic. You will feel peace in places where others tremble, because I am with you. At dawn, the king rushed to the den. O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God able to deliver thee from the lions? Daniel 6:20. The question trembled with hope and fear, and from the darkness came Daniel's voice, calm, steady, unshaken. My God hath sent his angel, and hath shut the lions' mouths. Daniel 6:22. I shut the mouths of the lions. I silenced the danger. I removed the power of the threat. The lions were still there, but their mouths were closed. Child, hear me again. I do not always remove the lions, but I silence them. I strip their power. I close their mouths. I make their threats empty. I make their roars harmless. The attack may appear real, but under my authority, it cannot touch you. They have not hurt me, for as much as before him, innocency was found in me. Daniel 6:22. Not a scratch, not a wound, not a bite. Child, when I protect you, danger becomes powerless, fear becomes quiet, attack becomes empty. The king rejoiced. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him. Daniel 6:23. Not a mark, not a scar, not a wound. And then, watch what happened next. And they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions. Daniel 6:24. The lions that could not touch Daniel crushed his enemies instantly. Child, hear this. What was meant to destroy you will destroy your fear instead. What was meant to intimidate you will be silenced. What was meant to break you will break under my authority. No danger stands against my command. And the king declared, He delivereth and rescueth, and he worketh signs and wonders. Daniel 6:27. That is who I am, your deliverer, your protector, your rescuer, your God in the den. Tonight, let this truth wrap around you like a blanket. The lions around you seem loud, but I shut their mouths. The threats around you seem strong, but I silence them. The fears inside you feel heavy, but I break their power. You are protected in places others fear. You are safe in situations others avoid. You are held in moments that feel dangerous. Rest now, child. Rest deeply. Rest without fear. Rest knowing the den is not your end. It is the place where my glory surrounds you. Tonight, sleep peacefully. Every danger is quiet under my authority. Every voice meant to harm you is silenced. Every lion around you is powerless. For I am the Lord your God, your deliverance, your divine protection, your peace in the den, your defender in the night. Jonah 2, alive inside the fish. Child, breathe with me, slowly, softly. Let the heaviness you've carried all day loosen its grip on your chest. Let your thoughts sink into stillness. Tonight, I want to take you somewhere deep, not to frighten you, but to remind you that even in the deepest darkness, my mercy reaches you. Even in the lowest places, I give second chances. Even inside what feels like a living prison, I rescue. You have moments when you feel like Jonah, moments when you believe you've sunk too far, failed too deeply, drifted too long, run too hard. Moments when you feel swallowed by life, surrounded by shadows, trapped in circumstances you can't change. But child, hear me tonight with every part of your tired soul. You are never too far for me to rescue, never too lost for me to find, never too broken for me to rebuild, never too deep for my mercy to reach. Let me take you into the belly of the fish, into Jonah's darkness, and reveal the miracle hidden inside it. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly. Jonah 2:1. Out of the fish's belly, out of a place no one survives, out of a place thick with hopelessness, out of a place that felt like the end. Child, you've prayed from these places too, the places no one sees, the places where your tears fall quietly, the places where the world believes you're fine but your soul whispers otherwise. And just like Jonah, I hear you. From the deepest places, I hear you. And said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Jonah 2:2. Affliction, pain, fear, desperation. You have cried from these places, and heaven did not ignore you. I heard you. I always hear you. This verse is not Jonah's story alone. It is yours. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest my voice. Jonah 2:2. Hell. That is what the darkness felt like. Complete isolation, complete fear, complete loss. But even there, my presence was not blocked. Even there, my ears were open. Even there, my mercy was reaching. Child, listen. Your lowest place is not the limit of my power. It is the location of my compassion. For thou hadst cast me into the deep, in the midst of the seas. Jonah 2:3. The deep swallowed him. The currents enclosed him. The ocean roared around him. Have you felt that way? Like life threw you into a sea you cannot swim through. Like circumstances pulled you under. Like emotions drowned you faster than you could breathe. Jonah felt it too. And the floods compassed me about. All thy billows and thy waves passed over me. Jonah 2:3. The waves didn't stop. They hit again and again. You know that feeling, when one difficulty follows another, when the moment you catch your breath, another wave strikes. But even then, mercy was moving. Then I said, I am cast out of thy sight. Jonah 2:4. Jonah believed he was beyond my presence, beyond my grace, beyond my reach. And you have believed this lie too at times, that you failed too much, run too far, broken too deeply, wandered too long. But hear Jonah's next breath. Yet I will look again toward thy holy temple. Jonah 2:4. Again, even after running, even after disobeying, even after falling, again. Child, you too can look again. It is never too late to turn your eyes toward me. I do not reject the heart that returns. The waters compassed me about, even to the soul. Jonah 2:5. Not just around his body, around his soul. The exhaustion was inside him. The fear lived inside him. The darkness settled inside him. You know what that feels like. When heaviness is not just circumstance, but internal, emotional, spiritual. Still, mercy was near. The depths closed me round about. The weeds were wrapped about my head. Jonah 2:5. Tangled, wrapped, trapped. Child, the weeds in your life, fear, shame, regret, sadness, indecision, wrap tightly too, but they are not strong enough to pull you from my hand. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains, Jonah 2:6, the lowest point, the deepest valley, the furthest he could fall. You've been there, emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and yet hast thou brought up my life from corruption, O Lord my God. Jonah 2:6. Yet, this tiny word is the turning point. Yet, I lifted him. Yet, I rescued him. Yet, I overturned hopelessness. Your life also has a yet. Your story also has a turning point. Your darkness also has an exit written by my hand. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord. Jonah 2:7. When he had nothing left, when hope ran dry, when strength collapsed, he remembered me. And you have done this too. Your soul remembers me, even when your mind is tired. Your spirit reaches for me, even when your emotions feel numb. And I remember you. And my prayer came in unto thee, into thine holy temple. Jonah 2:7. From the belly of a fish to the throne of heaven, his prayer traveled the whole distance. So does yours. Every whisper, every sob, every broken sentence, every silent thought, they reach me, all of them. They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. Jonah 2:8. Lies whisper, you're too far, you're too broken, you're too late, you've failed too much. But these are lies, and lies steal mercy. Don't believe them, child. My mercy is bigger than your mistakes. My mercy is stronger than your failures. My mercy is present in places you think are too dark for light. But I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving. Jonah 2:9. Even before rescue, Jonah thanked me. Tonight, let gratitude rise gently from you too. Not loud, not forced, just a quiet thank you from a tired heart that still believes. Salvation is of the Lord. Jonah 2:9. Deliverance does not come from effort, it comes from me. You do not have to claw your way out. You do not have to force the miracle. You do not have to rescue yourself. Your rescue is my responsibility. And then, the moment that changed everything. And the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah upon the dry land. Jonah 2:10. One command, and the darkness released him. One word, and he rose to the surface. One breath, and he stepped back into the light. Child, hear me. I can call you out of anything, any darkness, any failure, any fear, any regret, any depth, any pit. No place is beyond my reach. No mistake is beyond my mercy. No fall is beyond my compassion. You have not sunk too deep. You have not gone too far. My voice reaches the places you are afraid to speak of. Let this truth soften your heart tonight. Rest in my mercy. Rest in my compassion. Rest in my presence. Rest in my second chances. Rest knowing that the depths do not scare me. You are never too far for me to rescue. Sleep now, child. The one who reaches into the deep is holding you close tonight. Matthew 8. Jesus calms the storm. Child, before this night settles fully around you, let your breath become soft and steady. I know the storm inside you. I know the way your thoughts crash against each other, the way your fears rise like waves in the dark, the way your heart sways under the winds of uncertainty. Tonight, I want to take you into a moment where peace met chaos, where calm walked into the center of a storm, where storms were silenced by my voice. Let this story wrap around your heart like a warm blanket, comforting you, steadying you, guiding you toward rest. Let me carry you gently into Matthew 8, into a night when my disciples faced a storm they could not control, a storm like the one inside you, a storm that felt sudden, overwhelming, impossible, a storm that tested their courage and exposed their fear, a storm that revealed my power. Listen slowly. Let every word soothe you. Now when Jesus saw great multitudes about him, he gave commandment to depart unto the other side. Matthew 8:18. The journey began with a command, simple, clear, purposeful. Let us go to the other side. Child, there is always another side to your journey, another side of fear, another side of worry, another side of this season. I do not lead you into storms to drown you. I lead you through storms to show you my presence. And when he was entered into a ship, his disciples followed him. Matthew 8:23. They followed me. They trusted me. They stepped into the boat because I stepped into the boat. They believed the journey was safe because I was there. Child, you have followed me too. You have stepped into seasons because you sensed my direction. You have moved forward even when you felt unsure. You have trusted my leading, even when you didn't understand the path. And just like my disciples, you have discovered that storms sometimes come even when you follow me correctly. And behold, there arose a great tempest in the sea, insomuch that the ship was covered with the waves. Matthew 8:24. A great storm, not a gentle swell, not a passing drizzle, a violent, sudden tempest, winds screaming, water crashing, waves breaking into the boat. Child, you know these storms, not on the water but in your mind. Storms of fear, storms of pressure, storms of anxiety, storms of thoughts too loud to quiet, waves of what if crashing into your heart, winds of worry pushing you back and forth, moments where you feel overwhelmed, unstable, unsafe. But he was asleep. Matthew 8:24. I slept, not because I did not care, not because I did not see, not because I was unaware. I slept because the storm was not stronger than me. I slept because the waves could not harm what I hold. I slept because fear has no authority in my presence. Child, when you feel overwhelmed and it seems like heaven is silent, remember, silence is not absence. Stillness is not indifference. Rest is not neglect. I rest because I am not threatened by what threatens you. And his disciples came to him and awoke him, saying, Lord, save us, we perish. Matthew 8:25. Panic rose, fear spilled, their voices trembled with desperation. Lord, save us, we are perishing. You have prayed like this too, breathless, exhausted, afraid. You've whispered, Lord, help me, I'm sinking. You've said through tears, Lord, I can't take this anymore. You've thought, Lord, I'm drowning in my own thoughts. And just like I answered them, I answer you tonight. And he saith unto them, Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith? Matthew 8, 8:26. My words were not harsh, they were gentle, a soft reminder. I am here. I have not left you. I have not lost control. Child, I am not disappointed in you for feeling afraid. I am not frustrated that your faith trembles. I am not angry that your heart shakes. I ask this question only to remind you, fear does not define you. Storms do not rule you. Chaos does not own you, not while I am in your boat. Then, watch what I did next. Then he arose. Matthew 8:26. I stood in the middle of the storm, on that rocking boat, with water slapping its sides, with winds roaring around me. I stood, just like I stand with you tonight, and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. Matthew 8:26. Not a small calm, not partial relief, not a slow fade of chaos, a great calm, instant, complete, deep. Child, this is what my voice does to storms. This is what my presence does to chaos. This is what my authority does to fear. Whatever storm is raging inside you, I can silence it, not with effort, not with struggle, simply with a word. Peace, be still. Let those words settle into the anxious corners of your mind. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. Let these words breathe inside you like soft waves returning to shore. But the men marveled, saying, What manner of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? Matthew 8:27. Even the winds obey me, even the sea listens, even the forces beyond human control bow under my authority. Child, the storm in your mind is not too strong for me. The waves in your heart are not too high for me. The chaos in your spirit is not too loud for me. The fear in your chest is not too heavy for me. I calm storms, not just on seas but inside souls. Tonight, let me speak peace over you. Peace over your mind that won't stop racing. Peace over your heart that feels stretched thin. Peace over your worries that refuse to settle. Peace over the thoughts that shake you. Peace over the fears that whisper lies. Peace over the memories that stir the waters. Child, listen closely to me now. Your mind storms tonight, but I stand above the waves. Your heart sways, but I anchor you. Your fears rise, but I overwhelm them with my presence. You do not need to steady the boat. You do not need to calm the sea. You do not need to silence the wind. That is my job. Your only task is to rest near me. Let these words soothe you. Peace, be still. Over every worry, over every thought, over every fear, over every storm. Let my voice be the lullaby that rocks you toward rest. Let my presence be the shelter that wraps around your shaking heart. Let my love be the hand that steadies you. You are safe with me. You are held by me. You are protected by me. You are comforted by me. The storm has no authority over my child. The waves have no power over my promise. The wind has no strength against my word. Tonight, sleep knowing this. I am in your boat. I stand over your waves. I speak to your storm, and my voice never fails. Peace, be still. Rest now, child. The storm inside you is already growing quiet. The winds are losing strength. The waves are settling. The chaos is calming. For I am here, your peace in the storm, your calm in chaos, your God who silences every wave. Matthew 14. Jesus walks on water. Peter steps out. Child, come closer tonight. Let the noise of the day fade to the edges of your mind, like waves rolling back from the shore. You have done enough for today. You have tried enough. You have worried enough. Now, I want you to rest, not just your body, but your heart. I know that inside you there is a quiet trembling, a fear of stepping forward, a fear of failing, a fear of sinking if you dare to move. But tonight, I want to walk with you on the water. I want to speak to the part of you that longs to trust, but hesitates. I want to whisper to the place inside you that dreams of stepping in faith, yet fears the cost. You are afraid to step out, afraid to fail, afraid of sinking. But I hold your hand above every fear. I hold your heart above every wave. I hold your future above every storm. Rest now in this truth. You will not drown. You are walking with me. Listen, child, as I take you back to a night carved gently into Scripture. A night when the wind was wild, the waves were high, and one fearful man discovered the trust that comes from looking into my eyes. The day had been long. Crowds had gathered, hungry and desperate, and I had fed them with what seemed far too little: 5 loaves, 2 fish, and a miracle that left 12 baskets of abundance. When it was over, the disciples were tired, their bodies sore, their minds full. They thought the day's wonders had ended, but the real lesson was waiting in the dark. And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side. Matthew 14:22. I sent them ahead. I knew the sea they were about to cross. I knew the storm that would rise. I knew the fear that would grip them. Still I said, "Go." Child, sometimes I lead you into places where the sky looks clear at first, yet storms begin to gather later. That does not mean you are off course. It means I'm preparing a moment where trust will deepen and faith will learn what it means to stand on water. And he went up into a mountain apart to pray. Matthew 14:23. While they sailed, I prayed. While they struggled on the sea, I was interceding. While the waves rose, I was speaking to the Father. Child, when you feel like you are rowing alone, remember, I am praying for you. I am not distant. I am not unaware. Even when you do not feel my nearness, my eyes are on you. My heart is with you. My voice is speaking your name before the Father. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. Matthew 14:24. Tossed, pushed back, fighting the wind. You know this feeling, trying so hard and still getting pushed the wrong way, putting in effort but making no progress, wanting peace but feeling only turmoil. The disciples were in the middle of what I had asked them to do, yet the wind was against them. Child, the presence of resistance is not the absence of my will. Sometimes the hardest waters are the ones I have led you into, not to break you, but to show you what it means to trust when you cannot see the shore. Then the night deepened, and in the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. Matthew 14:25. The 4th watch, the darkest hours before dawn, not early evening when there was still some light, not midnight when there was still strength left, but near the end of the night, when exhaustion held their bones, when hope felt thin, when they had rowed for hours and still fought the wind. And that is when I came, walking on the very thing that threatened them, walking on the waves that frightened them, walking above the chaos that terrified their hearts. Child, what frightens you does not frighten me. What threatens you lies under my feet. What overwhelms you is a floor for my steps. I came to them not in a boat, not from the shore, but in a way they never expected. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, and they cried out for fear. Matthew 14:26. They did not recognize me at first. Fear made them misread my presence. The one who came to save them looked to them like another threat. Child, sometimes when I move in your life, it feels unfamiliar. It does not look like the rescue you imagined. It does not sound like the answer you expected. And fear whispers, what if this is not God? What if this is just more trouble? But listen to what I say next. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I. Be not afraid. Matthew 14:27. It is I, not the storm, not the enemy, not your imagination. It is I, your Lord, your shepherd, your Savior, your friend. Be of good cheer. Do not be afraid. My presence in the storm is your greatest safety. Then Peter's heart stirred, and Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. Matthew 14:28. Peter felt something inside him awaken, the desire for stepping in faith, the longing to experience more than survival, the hunger to walk where I walked. Child, you feel this too. Beneath your fear there is a quiet, persistent desire. You want to trust me more. You want to step deeper into what I have for you. You want to live beyond the boat of your comfort, beyond the limits you've set around yourself. Peter could have stayed in the boat. It was safer there, or at least it seemed safer. But safety without trust is not peace. It is just control, disguised as comfort. So Peter said, Call me, invite me. If it is you, let me walk too. And I answered with one simple word, and he said, Come. Matthew 14:29. Come. Not a long explanation, not a detailed map, not a guarantee that he would never feel fear. Just, come, child. This is what I whisper to you too, in the quiet places of your soul. Come, step out, trust me, leave what feels safe and walk toward me. You are afraid to step out, afraid to fail, afraid of sinking. But I do not call you to prove your strength. I call you to lean on mine. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. Matthew 14:29. He walked on water, on what should have drowned him, on what terrified him just moments before. Child, this is what trust looks like. Not the absence of waves, not a life without wind, but courage to walk toward me in the middle of the storm. This is the courage to walk, not because the sea is calm, but because your eyes are on the one who stands above it. For a moment, Peter knew the miracle of matching his steps to mine. Every movement of his foot was a quiet testimony. Jesus is enough. His word is enough. His presence is enough. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried, saying, Lord, save me. Matthew 14:30. His eyes shifted, from me to the wind, from my face to the waves, from my word to his surroundings. Fear rose, trust trembled, and he began to sink. Child, you know this feeling. You start in faith, but then life screams, bills, responsibilities, fears, memories, what-ifs. They rise like waves around you. You begin to notice the wind more than my voice. You begin to look at the storm more than my promise. And slowly, you feel yourself sinking into anxiety, into discouragement, into doubt. But hear this, even sinking is not the end when you know how to cry out, Lord, save me. Short, desperate, honest, and it was enough. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him. Matthew 14:31. Immediately, not after a long delay, not after a lecture, not after proof of stronger faith. I stretched out my hand, I caught him. Child, when your trust falters, my grip does not. When your courage shakes, my hand stays firm. When your faith feels small, my rescue is still big. I did not let Peter sink. I will not let you sink either. And said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Matthew 14:31. I was not angry. I was inviting Peter to see that the storm had never been stronger than my presence. Child, I ask you the same, very gently. Why do you doubt? Did the waves ever have more authority than I do? Did your fear ever have more power than my love? Did your failure ever cancel my hand reaching toward you? Then together Peter and I walked back to the boat, not with Peter dragged in shame, but with Peter upheld in grace. And when they were come into the ship, the wind ceased. Matthew 14:32. The wind did not stop when Peter stepped out. The wind stopped when I stepped into the boat. Child, your peace does not come from controlling your circumstances. Your peace comes from me being in the center of them. Then they that were in the ship came and worshipped him, saying, Of a truth thou art the Son of God. Matthew 14:33. That night was not just about a storm, not just about water, not just about a man who sank and was saved. It was about revelation, about hearts finally seeing me clearly. Of a truth, I am the Son of God, the one who commands the winds, the one who stands on waves, the one who reaches into the deep to pull you up, the one who teaches you how to trust, how to step in faith, how to find courage to walk even when you feel unsteady. So now, child, breathe with me again. You are afraid to step out, afraid to fail, afraid of sinking, but I am holding your hand above every fear. You will not drown. You are walking with me. Tonight, as you lie down, let this be the whisper in your spirit. I trust you, Lord. I may feel small, I may feel shaky, but I trust you. Give me courage to walk. Give me courage to step where you call. Give me courage to look at you more than the waves. If I start to sink, I know you will catch me. You are with me in the boat. You are with me on the water. You are with me in the storm. You are with me in the night. Now rest, child. Let your thoughts loosen their grip. Let your fears grow quiet. Let your heart lean against me, for you are not walking alone. Every step, every trembling movement forward, every little act of trust, you take it with me. You are safe. You are loved. You are held. And even on the water, even in the wind, even when you do not trust yourself, you can trust me. Mark 5. Deliverance, healing, resurrection, child. Before the night folds completely over your thoughts, before your mind drifts into sleep, come and rest close to me. Let your breathing soften. Let your spirit settle. You have carried more today than anyone knows. You have pushed through moments that felt heavy, fought thoughts that felt relentless, and endured emotions that felt like unseen storms. But tonight, I want to bring you into a chapter where freedom, healing, and resurrection arrive in one breath, into the heart-deep places where chains break, wounds mend, and life returns. Let me take you into Mark 5, where 3 stories intertwine into a single truth. In my presence, nothing stays bound, nothing stays broken, nothing stays dead. You may not see everything that hurts you. You may not understand what holds you back. You may not recognize the parts of you that still need healing, but I see them, and tonight, while you rest, I am touching places inside you that you didn't even know needed my hand. Let your heart go slowly with me now. Let Scripture become a soft voice over your soul. And they came over unto the other side of the sea. Mark 5:1. That day, the storm had just been calmed. Fear had just been stilled. The disciples, still trembling from the wind and waves, followed me into a quiet morning, quiet outside, but not quiet in the place they were about to enter. Child, you know these transitions, moments when one storm ends, but another waits ahead, moments when peace arrives, but is quickly followed by something unexpected. But even in these moments, my presence stays steady. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him a man with an unclean spirit. Mark 5:2. Immediately, no pause, no rest. A broken man ran toward me, the kind of brokenness people avoid, the kind of suffering the world cannot fix. He lived among tombs. He cried out day and night. He tore his own flesh. Chains could not hold him. Child, you may not see yourself in such dramatic pain, but you know the feeling of being trapped in invisible chains. Chains of fear, chains of shame, chains of regret, chains of habits, chains of memories. None of them are stronger than my freedom. But when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshipped him. Mark 5:6. Even before he was delivered, he ran toward me. Even before he was healed, he worshipped. Even before the chains broke, his heart reached out. Child, you may feel bound, but your spirit still knows my name. You may feel stuck, but your heart still turns toward me. And that movement, however small, is enough. For Jesus said unto him, Come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. Mark 5:8. One command, one breath, one word, and the chains that tormented him shattered. Child, deliverance is not difficult for me. There is no darkness I cannot penetrate, no bondage I cannot break, no grip I cannot loosen. Every invisible chain around your life, fear, anxiety, shame, heaviness, is powerless when my voice speaks. And they found the man, sitting and clothed and in his right mind. Mark 5:15. From chaos to calm, from torment to peace, from screaming to sitting quietly near me. This is what my presence does. This is what happens when I enter your darkest place. You find rest, stability, soundness. Tonight, child, I am leading your inner world into this same peace. I am calming the troubled places. I am restoring clarity to your mind. I am quieting every restless thought. But the story continues. As I departed, someone else was waiting in desperation. There cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and he fell at his feet. Mark 5:22. Jairus fell with trembling urgency. His daughter, his beloved child, was dying. Child, you know what it feels like when something precious to you is slipping away. Your peace, your hope, your confidence, your joy, your purpose. You know what it feels like to plead, Please come. Please save this part of my life. I heard Jairus. I hear you. I pray thee, come and lay thy hands on her, that she may be healed, and she shall live. Mark 5:23. His voice was shaky, but his faith was real. Faith doesn't have to shout. It just has to reach. So I went with him, and on the way, someone else touched me. And a certain woman had an issue of blood 12 years. Mark 5:25. 12 years. 12 long, weary years. 12 years of weakness, shame, loneliness, disappointment. Child, you know what prolonged suffering feels like. The kind that drains slowly. The kind that follows you everywhere. The kind others cannot see. And had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but rather grew worse. Mark 5:26. She had tried everything, every cure, every solution, every attempt had failed. Have you tried to fix yourself? Tried to heal your own heart? Tried to free yourself from habits, memories, cycles, and found yourself growing worse, not better? But then, hope whispered. When she had heard of Jesus, Mark 5:27, just hearing my name ignited a spark in her, a spark strong enough to move her through a crowd, but humble enough to reach only for the hem of my garment. She said, If I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. Mark 5:28. She wasn't reaching for attention. She wasn't reaching for recognition. She was reaching for me. Child, sometimes trust looks like simply stretching out your hand, quietly, desperately, believing that my nearness is enough. And straightway the fountain of her blood was dried up. Mark 5:29. Immediately, instant relief, instant healing, instant restoration. No ritual, no ceremony, just a touch filled with faith. But I didn't let her slip away anonymously. And Jesus said, "Who touched my clothes?" Mark 5:30. Not because I didn't know, but because I wanted her to know that I saw her pain, I honored her faith, and I wanted her healed not only in body, but in soul. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Go in peace. Mark 5:34. Whole, not partly healed, not temporarily strengthened. Whole. This is what I want for you tonight. Not half healing, not surface comfort, but wholeness. Meanwhile, Jairus' story darkened. There came from the ruler's house certain which said, "Thy daughter is dead." Mark 5:35. Dead. Too late. Hopeless. But child, listen to my next words, not only for Jairus, but for you. Be not afraid, only believe. Mark 5:36. Do not fear, do not surrender, do not assume the end, only believe. We arrived. The house was filled with weeping, loud, desperate grief. But I spoke into the sorrow. The damsel is not dead, but sleepeth. Mark 5:39. They laughed, they mocked, they doubted, but I entered the room anyway, and I took her gently by the hand. Damsel, I say unto thee, arise. Mark 5:41. Not shouted, not demanded, not forced, just a quiet command spoken with divine authority. And straightway the damsel arose. Mark 5:42. Life returned, breath returned, hope returned. Child, death retreated, despair retreated, darkness retreated, because where I enter, life follows. Now feel this deeply. In one chapter, I delivered a tormented man, healed a bleeding woman, and resurrected a dying girl. 3 different people, 3 different needs, 3 different kinds of suffering, but one answer, one presence, one Savior. Tonight, I come to you with the same heart. Chains fall at my presence, illness dissolves, death retreats, fear loses its power, shame breaks, wounds mend, hope rises, life breathes again. Tonight, while you sleep, I am touching the parts of you you don't show the world, the parts you hide, the parts you fear, the parts you think will never change, the parts that feel too damaged, too tired, too wounded. I am making you whole. Let this truth rest over you like soft light. You are not beyond deliverance. You are not beyond healing. You are not beyond restoration. You are not beyond resurrection. I free what is bound. I heal what is hurting. I revive what is dying. So rest, child. Rest deeply. Rest safely. Rest knowing that tonight you are being made whole in the gentle presence of the one who breaks chains, heals wounds, and breathes life into every place that has grown tired inside you. Luke 1. Elizabeth conceives John the Baptist. Child, come rest beside me in the quiet of this night. Lay down the weight of time, yes, even the years that feel wasted, even the prayers that feel unanswered, even the desires that feel delayed beyond hope. I know how long you have waited. I know the ache of longing that returns at night when distractions fade. I know the quiet wondering in your heart, has God forgotten me? Tonight, I want to draw you gently into a story carved with the tenderness of divine timing, the comfort of hope restored, and the beauty of a long-awaited promise finally fulfilled. Let the story of Elizabeth settle over your spirit like soft light, reminding you that what feels late to you is never late to me. I do not delay out of neglect. I perfect out of love. Let your breath slow. Let every anxious thought ease. Let Scripture wash over you like calm water. There was in the days of Herod a certain priest named Zacharias, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. Luke 1:5. A faithful couple. Luke 1. Elizabeth conceives John the Baptist. Steady, righteous, quietly obedient. Their lives were full of devotion, but empty of the one thing they longed for. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord, blameless. Luke 1:6. Blameless, yet barren. Child, you know what it feels like when your life is good in many ways, but one area aches with absence. You know what it feels like when you have done everything right, and yet the thing you hope for most has not appeared. You begin to question, did I miss something? Did God overlook me? Am I praying for something that will never come? But listen to what comes next. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. Luke 1:7. Well stricken in years. Time had gone on too long. The window seemed closed. Hope seemed past its expiration date. And this is where I want you to pause, because this is often where you give up on yourself. But this is never where I give up on you. Delay is not denial. Delay is the soil where miracles grow. Elizabeth had lived with disappointment for decades. She had cried prayers that seemed unanswered. She had endured the quiet sting of societal judgment. She had watched others hold the blessings she longed for. And still, she remained faithful. Child, your waiting has not been empty. Your patience has not been wasted. Your faithfulness has not gone unseen. Now let me bring you into the turning point of the story. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar. Luke 1:11. When Zacharias entered the temple, heaven entered the moment. One ordinary day became the doorway to extraordinary promise. One routine act of worship became the stage for divine intervention. Child, your miracle often begins quietly, on an ordinary day, in an unexpected moment, while you are simply doing what you've always done. Not with noise, not with announcement, but with a whisper from heaven. Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard. Luke 1:13. Your prayer is heard, not forgotten, not lost, not ignored. Even prayers prayed years ago, long before you felt tired. Even prayers whispered with tears. Even prayers you no longer remember praying. And then, the promise he had waited a lifetime for. And thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son. Luke 1:13. A son. Not a possibility, not a suggestion, a promise. Heaven had not denied their request. Heaven had timed it perfectly. Child, your promise is not late. It is prepared. Prepared for the right season. Prepared for the right heart. Prepared for the right purpose. Prepared to bless more than just you. Elizabeth's waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. Preparation for a miracle that would align with the coming of the Messiah. Preparation for a child who would prepare the way for Christ. Preparation for a story that would strengthen countless generations. Your waiting also has purpose far deeper than you see. Now listen to Elizabeth's response when the miracle finally touched her life. And after those days his wife Elizabeth conceived. Luke 1:24. Conceived, after years of silence, after decades of longing, after time had already declared too late. Child, nothing is too late for me. Not dreams, not healing, not restoration, not love, not opportunity, not purpose. When I speak into barrenness, life begins. And then her quiet, trembling, grateful joy. Thus hath the Lord dealt with me, to take away my reproach among men. Luke 1:25. The shame she carried dissolved, the judgment she endured vanished. The inner ache of waiting was replaced by joy. Child, I know the shame you've carried, the private hurts you don't share, the quiet embarrassment of waiting longer than others, the hidden fears that whisper, maybe I'm forgotten. But like Elizabeth, you will see this. Your waiting will end with joy, not disappointment. Your emptiness will be filled. Your sorrow will be reversed. Your story will bring glory to my timing. Now rest in this truth, child. Delay is not denial. My timing is not slow. It is perfect. There is a reason your promise has taken time, not because it is weak, because it is sacred. Elizabeth's miracle was not just for her. It was for the world. Your miracle will reach further than you know. Tonight, lay down the fear that time has taken too much from you. Lay down the worry that you missed your moment. Lay down the belief that you are behind. You are not behind. You are in step with divine timing. Every year, every tear, every prayer, every moment of waiting has been part of the preparation. Now, breathe deeply. Let weariness dissolve. Let hope rise again. Let my presence whisper to you gently. Your promise is not late. It is prepared. Your hope is not empty. It is ripening. Your future is not fading. It is forming. Rest, child. Rest in my perfect timing. Rest in my faithfulness. Rest in the truth that I finish what I start, and I begin miracles at the exact moment they glorify me most. Tonight, rest knowing hope is being restored, timing is aligning, promise is preparing, and just like Elizabeth, you will rejoice in the fullness of what heaven has kept for you until the perfect moment arrives. John 9. A man born blind receives sight. Child, come close tonight. Let the quiet of this hour soften everything inside you that has felt confused, overwhelmed, or lost in questions. You have walked through seasons where nothing made sense, where the path felt dim, where your understanding failed you, where you tried to make sense of circumstances that simply didn't seem fair. And in those moments, you wondered silently, why is this happening? What am I missing? What am I not seeing? Tonight, let me take your hand and lead you into a story where revelation, seeing anew, and vision restored meet like dawn breaking after a long night. Let the story of the man born blind in John 9 settle over your spirit with gentleness, reminding you that the confusion you feel is not permanent, and that clarity is already drawing near. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts soften. Let every knot of worry gently release. Let Scripture wash over you like warm light. And as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. John 9:1. Blind from birth. He had never seen light, never seen faces, never seen the sky, never seen the world others described. Child, there are places within you that feel just as unseen. Questions without answers, moments without understanding, circumstances that feel dark no matter how much you try to interpret them. But notice what Scripture says next. As Jesus passed by, he saw him, not the crowd, not the noise, not the commotion. He saw him, just as I see you tonight, not lost in the crowd of humanity, not overlooked in the busyness of life, not unseen in your confusion. I see the places where you don't yet understand. I see the questions you whisper only in your heart. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? John 9:2. People always try to explain suffering. They look for fault. They look for reason. They try to match pain to cause. But not all hardship is punishment. Not all confusion is failure. Not all blindness is judgment. Some things you walk through exist for one reason only, that my glory may be revealed in you. Now listen to my answer. Jesus answered, Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. John 9:3. Child, let this truth rest deeply in you. Some of the things you do not understand, some of the seasons that feel confusing, some of the questions you cannot answer, exist because I am preparing to reveal something greater. Delays of understanding are not delays of love. Waiting for clarity is not punishment. Your confusion is not failure. It is the place where my revelation is getting ready to shine. You have begged for answers, for reasons, for explanations. But tonight I want to give you something deeper. Sight. Sight that sees purpose where you saw pain. Sight that sees goodness where you saw emptiness. Sight that sees my hand where you saw nothing moving. Sight that sees the path where you once saw darkness. Now watch what happens next. When he had thus spoken, he spat on the ground and made clay of the spittle, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. John 9:6. I touched his eyes with something simple, clay mixed with breath, the same material I used to form humanity in the beginning, the same breath that brought life into Adam's dust. Child, when I restore vision, I do it with tenderness. I do it with purpose. I do it with the same love that formed you. And then these gentle words, go, wash in the pool of Siloam. John 9:7. I did not command him to understand, only to obey. And sometimes that is what I ask of you, not to see the whole picture, but to trust the next step. The man could not see the way. He could not see me, but he trusted my voice. Child, trust is the bridge between confusion and revelation. One step of obedience leads you into a world you have never seen before. He went his way, therefore, and washed, and came seeing. John 9:7, and came seeing. 3 simple words, but they changed everything. Child, you will come seeing too. Not all at once, not in a moment of force, but in a gentle unveiling. Sight where there was confusion, understanding where there were questions, light where there was shadow, peace where there was turmoil. Let the next verses rest softly over you. Some said, this is he. Others said, he is like him. John 9:9. When clarity comes, when vision returns, when revelation breaks through, even others will notice the change in you. What they once did not understand about you will begin to make sense. The confusion you carried will lift. The heaviness will lighten. But the most important part of the story remains your own confession. I am he. John 9:9. He knew who he was, the same person, but restored. The same life, but with new vision. The same story, but now seen through the lens of divine revelation. And when they asked him how it happened, he simply answered, a man that is called Jesus made clay, and I received sight. John 9:11. Child, every revelation in your life can be traced back to this. Jesus touched you. Jesus opened your eyes. Jesus restored your vision. Jesus brought light into your confusion. Jesus walked into your darkness and filled it with clarity. Now breathe slowly. Let this truth settle into your deepest thoughts tonight. What you don't understand now will make sense later. What confuses you today will become clear in time. What feels hidden from you will soon be revealed. Your unanswered questions are not signs of abandonment. They are invitations to trust. Your confusion is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of revelation. Let your heart find rest in these words. I will open your eyes. I will show you what you could not see before. I will bring clarity into places that feel tangled. I will restore vision where life has felt blurry. I will help you understand the things that once frightened you. I will shine light where you have only seen darkness. Tonight, sleep peacefully, not because you have all the answers, but because revelation is drawing near. Rest knowing this. The same Jesus who touched the blind man is touching your understanding, your vision, your insight, your path. Clarity is coming. Light is coming. Sight is coming. Peace is coming. Sleep, child, and when you rise, you will come seeing. John 11. Lazarus raised from the dead. Child, come close tonight, closer than the grief you carry, closer than the disappointment that still lingers, closer than the places inside you that whisper, "It's too late." Let this moment be soft over your spirit. Let my presence steady your breath. Let the quiet of this night become a gentle reminder that resurrection, life renewed, and things returning are not just stories. They are who I am. You have places in your heart that feel finished, dreams you quietly buried, possibilities you stopped imagining, prayers you once prayed boldly but no longer whisper, parts of yourself you assumed would never live again. Tonight, I want to walk with you into John 11, a valley shadowed by death, grief, and despair, and I want you to see how quickly hopelessness dissolves when I speak. Let every word of Scripture settle like light in the darkest corners of your thoughts. Now a certain man was sick, named Lazarus. John 11:1. Sick. Something in him was failing. Something was weakening. Something was slipping beyond human strength. Child, you know this feeling. Not just sickness of the body, but the slow decline of hope, the fading of joy, the quiet erosion of dreams, the fatigue that settles into the soul. But watch how the story continues. It was that Mary which anointed the Lord with ointment, whose brother Lazarus was sick. John 11:2. Mary loved me deeply. Lazarus was precious to me. And yet the sickness remained, for a time. Your suffering does not mean you are unloved. Your delays do not mean you are forgotten. Your waiting does not mean you are unseen. Your pain does not mean I am not working. Now hear the message they sent. Lord, behold, he whom thou lovest is sick. John 11:3. Whom you love. They appealed not to their worth, not to their perfection, not to their righteousness, but to my love. Child, when you pray, lean into my love. It is stronger than fear, stronger than time, stronger than death. Then I spoke words no one understood at first. This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God. John 11:4. Not unto death, even though death came, even though the mourners gathered, even though the tomb was sealed. Child, some things in your life look dead, not because they are finished, but because they are waiting for my glory. Some seasons go dark, so resurrection can be all the more radiant. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. When he had heard, he abode 2 days still in the same place where he was. John 11:5-6. I loved them, and I waited. This is one of the hardest truths for your heart to hold. Sometimes I delay not out of distance, but out of purpose. Sometimes I allow what you fear, so I can reveal what you need. Sometimes I wait until the situation is beyond human remedy, so you will know the miracle is mine alone. Now journey with me to Bethany. Lord, if thou hadst been here, my brother had not died. John 11:21. Martha's voice trembled with grief. You have prayed this too. If only you came sooner. If only you stopped this. If only you answered earlier. But child, hear her next words. The fragile seed of faith still alive inside her. But I know that even now, whatsoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. John 11:22. Even now, even after death, even after disappointment, even after the impossible, this is where resurrection begins. In the even now faith that survives grief. I answered her with the truth she could not yet comprehend. Thy brother shall rise again. John 11:23. She thought I meant someday, but I meant today. And then I spoke the words that echo into every broken heart tonight. I am the resurrection and the life. John 11:25. Not I will bring resurrection someday. Not I can perform resurrection when needed. but I am resurrection itself. Where I am, life returns. Where I speak, death retreats. Where I walk, hope rises. Now follow me to the heart of the valley. Jesus wept. John 11:35. I wept not because I was powerless, but because I loved, because I felt the sorrow around me, because I always meet you in your grief before I lift you out of it. Child, I see your tears. I sit with you in them. I hold you before I heal you. And then came the moment all of heaven leaned toward. Jesus, therefore, cometh to the grave. John 11:38. A sealed tomb, a stone unmoved. 4 days of death. Your situation may feel just as final, just as sealed, just as impossible. But watch. Take ye away the stone. John 11:39. I did not ask if it was possible. I did not ask if it was too late. I simply commanded the barrier to be removed. Child, the stone in your life, the thing blocking healing, blocking restoration, blocking hope, is lighter to me than a breath. Then I lifted my eyes. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. John 11:41. I thanked my Father before the miracle, not because I doubted, but because heavenly power was already moving. And then, with the authority that commands galaxies and breathes stars, Lazarus, come forth. John 11:43. 2 words, come forth. 2 words that shattered darkness. 2 words that reversed decay. 2 words that restored life. 2 words that silenced death. And then, and he that was dead came forth. John 11:44. He came out still wrapped in grave clothes, because resurrection begins inside and freedom unfolds next. Child, this is what I speak over you tonight. Come forth from hopelessness. Come forth from disappointment. Come forth from grief. Come forth from the grave of old dreams. Come forth from the fear that says it's too late. Come forth into life renewed. Nothing is too dead for me. No dream is too buried. No purpose is too forgotten. No relationship is too broken. No heart is too hurt. No season is too far gone. I bring life where death has settled. I restore what you surrendered. I awaken what you buried in silence. Tonight, rest in this truth. What you thought was over, I am bringing back to life. The dreams you left behind, they are not finished. The parts of you that dimmed, they will shine again. The hope you thought you lost, it is rising. The door you believed was shut, it will open again. The future you feared was gone, I am writing it anew. Lay down every fear whispering, too late. Lay down every memory of failure. Lay down every disappointment. Rest, child. Rest in hope. Rest in resurrection. Rest knowing you are held by the one who speaks life into every place that has ever felt like death. Tonight, sleep in peace, for the same voice that called Lazarus from the grave is calling life back into you. Acts 12. Peter freed from prison by an angel. Child, before sleep settles fully over your thoughts, let me draw you close. Let me quiet the places inside you that still feel bound, still feel trapped, still feel surrounded by walls you cannot escape. There are prisons no one sees, prisons made of fear, stress, exhaustion, regret, pressure, expectations, memories, shame, and silent battles you carry alone. But tonight, I want to take you into a story that unfolds in the deepest part of the night, a story of freedom, supernatural intervention, and chains breaking in the dark. Let the soft cadence of Scripture guide your breath. Let my voice blend with the stillness around you. Let this moment become a reminder that even while you sleep, heaven is working. Come with me into Acts 12. Now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. Acts 12:1. It was a dangerous time, a fearful time, a season where darkness seemed to dominate, where the faithful were hunted, where hope was under attack, where safety felt like a distant memory. Child, you know what it feels like to live in days where pressure surrounds you, where one difficult moment follows another, where you feel like life has tightened its grip around you. But even when the world feels dark, my light has not dimmed. And he killed James. And because he saw it pleased the people, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Acts 12:2-3. Peter was next. Peter, my bold disciple. Peter, the one who walked on water. Peter, the one who preached at Pentecost. Peter, the one whom I restored after failure. And yet, even he was taken captive. Child, do not think that your spiritual strength exempts you from battles. Do not believe that faith eliminates all hardship. Even my strongest followers walk into seasons that feel like prisons. Even the brave become weary. Even the faithful face trials. But listen to what my church did. But prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. Acts 12:5. While Peter was chained, they prayed. While he slept, they interceded. While he was surrounded by guards, heaven surrounded him with protection. Child, even when you cannot pray, you are being prayed for. Even when you cannot fight, heaven fights for you. Even when your strength is gone, grace steps in. Now feel the weight of what comes next. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between two soldiers. The same night. Not before, not after, not when things were comfortable, but when the threat was at its peak, and Peter slept. Rest in this truth. You can sleep even in the tightest places. You can rest even when the situation feels impossible. You can breathe even when you feel surrounded, because I am with you, even in the prison. Now watch closely. Bound with two chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. 2 soldiers, 2 chains, locked gates, more guards outside. No escape, no strategy, no chance. Child, I let the situation become impossible, so that my intervention would be undeniable. Now listen as heaven enters the story. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him. An angel entered the prison, not with a loud entrance, not with a violent earthquake, not with shouting or thunder, simply entered, quietly, certain, unstoppable. And this is where your night meets the scripture. And a light shined in the prison. Acts 12:7. A light in the darkest place. A light where no light should reach. A light that no guard could stop. Child, I can shine in the darkest corners of your mind, your heart, your circumstances. No darkness can keep me out. Then he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. Acts 12:7. The angel touched him, not gently, but intentionally. A divine nudge, a holy awakening. Child, there are places in your life where you have grown tired, where you have accepted defeat, where you have settled into discouragement. But I am waking you up, not to fear, but to freedom. And then something miraculous happened, and his chains fell off from his hands. Acts 12:7. Not unlocked, not removed by force, not broken by struggle. They simply fell off. Child, this is how I free you. Without effort, without noise, without struggle. What binds you loses its power in my presence. Now listen to the angel's next words. Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. Acts 12:8. Child, freedom requires movement. Healing requires steps. Deliverance requires walking forward. You cannot stay in the place you were chained. And Peter followed, and he went out and followed him. Acts 12:9. Walking through darkness, walking past guards who couldn't see him, walking through doors that opened on their own. Some miracles happen as you move, not before, not after, but while you take the next step in faith. Then they came unto the iron gate, which opened to them of his own accord. Acts 12:10. The iron gate, the final barrier, the heaviest obstacle, the boundary no one could cross. It opened by itself. Child, the gate you fear most, the opportunity that seems locked, the breakthrough that seems impossible, the future that seems unreachable, will open when it is time, not by your strength, not by your effort, by my hand alone. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him. Acts 12:10. Once Peter was free, the angel left, because the purpose was fulfilled. Child, I send help exactly when you need it, not early, not late, not too little, not too much. And Peter, stunned, whispered, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel, and hath delivered me. Acts 12:11. Tonight, let this truth settle gently over you. I send angels into your darkest places. I break chains while you sleep. I open doors in the night. I silence guards that intimidate you. I bring you out of places you thought you'd never escape. I lead you into freedom step by step. Child, while Peter slept, I sent an angel. While he rested, I opened the gates. While he dreamed, I overturned the impossible. And tonight, I am doing the same for you. Lay your head down. Let your fears release. Let your breath slow. You don't need to fix everything before morning. You don't need to break your own chains. You don't need to force doors open. You are not alone in the dark. Heaven is moving. Light is entering. Chains are loosening. Peace is settling. Tonight, as you rest, I am breaking chains you cannot see and opening doors you never thought would move. Sleep in my peace. Sleep in my protection. Sleep in my victory. Rest deeply, child. For even now, as your eyes close, as your heartbeat slows, as the night wraps around you, I am working in the dark to bring you into the light.